All right, so welcome to this tutorial. And in this tutorial, I'll be talking about this Motif XFJ library. Now, the one good thing about this library is that it is very light and it can do a lot. But there are some things you need to take note of when using this library. In this library, we have 8 voices. The first one is a concert grand and it sounds like this. All right, so that's the concert grand. And the next one we have is a grand piano and it sounds this way. I'm actually controlling all these sliders with my MIDI. So if you want to learn how to do this, the last tutorial I released, I talked about this. You can check it out and I will include link in the description. So the next sound is this electric piano section. And the first one sounds this way. And the next one is this Epiano and it sounds this way. And the next piano is this sound, and it sounds like this. So these pianos is giving more of this old school kind of piano vibe. So the next section is pads, and this first one we have here is like an analog pad. Now this next pad here is like an hash pad, and it sounds like this. So the next pad we have here sounds like this. And the last one is a string, and it sounds this way. All right, so before I go into how to blend these voices to sound well, there are some things I want you to take note. If you're going to be using this for live performance, first of all, you have to have a MIDI controller so you could link all of these sliders to a slider. So you have to have a MIDI controllers with slider. Another thing you want to take note about this library is that the sound sometimes get too loud, especially for the concert grand and the grand. So you have to be careful with those two sounds so that it doesn't sound distorted. So the first thing you also want to do is that if you're going to be using this MIDI in your DAW, the first thing you want to do is to lower the track of that MIDI. So you can see I actually drop this volume down. If you don't do that, it's going to sound distorted if you push the volume a bit. So I think it's part of the little issue I have with this plugin. So once you drop down the volume of the track itself, then you can go into balancing the sound. Now, the way I will use this sound is simple. I'm going to increase this concert grand up to a certain level. Then I'm going to blend it a bit with the grand piano to give it body. Now, for the electric piano, this piano, I'm going to use it like a bell. So let me just bring it in. So for the next E piano, I'm just going to blend it a bit. Now, this last Epiano has more body, so I'm going to bring it up a bit to take in the piano. So when it gets too much, you will know because it begins to add a lot of muddiness to the whole sound. Now, the next part are the pad session. Now, for the first pad, I'm going to just take it up. Well, yeah, for the pads, especially the first pad, the volume is actually very low, so you can take that one up a bit. But for the concert grand and the grand piano, if you take it up too much, you start hearing distortion. So this next sound, which was like the ash pad, you want to just bring it up a little bit. Now, basically, this part you want it to be felt in the mix. You don't just want it to be too evident. So the next part, you can just bring it up. Once you start noticing muddiness and clashes between the two pads, you just draw it down a little bit. And lastly, you have the string. So you want this up a little bit. So you could hear the magical sound I have currently. So let me just play it. This might not be the best library in the world, but if you know how to go about it, you can get good results from it. Also, coupled with the fact that the interface is so simple to undo and it doesn't consume a lot of memory. So, I want you to try it out and check it out.